Good morning, Las Vegas does. My name is Chris Hill, and I'm from T-Mobile, and I run developer platforms. I'd like to talk to you all today about chasing unicorns. A unicorn in my book is an enterprise that has mastered software delivery at scale. Now, here at T-Mobile, we are actively improving every single day so that we can eventually get to that benchmark of what it means to be a unicorn and deliver value at scale to our customers. I'm part of a group called Product and Technology, and my space primarily has been in the developer platform arena. I'm highly passionate about this area, and I'm really excited to talk to everyone about creating a developer experience that we can all be proud of within a very large enterprise. This is what I'm going to talk about today. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about why does it make sense to invest in developer experience. Then I'll talk about transformation fatigue and what does it mean to have multiple conflicting transformations all done at the same time, and how we may actually be diluting the impact of the underlying spirit of the change we're trying to make. I'll also go into how in the last 2 years we've transitioned out of the chaos domain from a developer platform perspective, and then I'll go over the lessons learned. Now I'm going to start us off in an area that I think a lot of us don't really like to talk about, and that's onboarding. And this is where I feel most developers first lose their initial spurt of motivation. And what I'm referring to is inheriting a software project. I have inherited many software projects throughout my career, and every one of them feels like I stepped in the middle of an IKEA build cycle and all the parts were missing and there are no instructions and there's no support line and all the screws are stripped and I have pressure that I should come out with my first feature next week. And by stumbling into a lot of different software projects that now became my own, I felt firsthand the experience of frustration trying to get up to speed to be effective and contribute value to existing software projects. Now, I've spent sometimes up to a week, 2 weeks, just looking for documentation on how to actually get access to the code or get access to the environments. And sometimes I'm left with a series of tickets that I have to raise. As we all know in a corporation, tickets have SLAs. Tickets usually have an approval workflow. And if I'm really lucky within that approval workflow, every one of those approvers are actually in the office during that SLA window. And if the first thing in terms of value contribution I make to the business is to go around and disrupt every one of the approvers and say, hey, would you mind doing this for me? I may not be contributing as much value and I may not have as much motivation in the longer term. Now, one thing that I've noticed is if you start at a 10 out of 10 in terms of motivation, and your first experience is something similar to what I've just described, before you even look at the code, you may already be at a 3. I honestly don't understand why most developers don't run for the hills. I think secretly every time I thought that, no, it's definitely going to get better. Then by the time that I actually got access to the code, I realized that it's just worse than I thought. Not only is it worse because I don't understand any of this code that I didn't write, but I also don't fully understand the value stream and all of the fragmented tools that I have to use just to get the end fulfillment. I hear that you're asking me for a feature. I don't really know how to get a feature into your hands, but let me try and piece this value stream tool set together to figure out how I get you what you want. And if the change muscle wasn't something that had been flexed very often, I've got an uphill battle. This can be extremely frustrating and extremely demotivating. And honestly, at T-Mobile, customer experience is in our blood. Developer experience has just recently come in our blood. And ultimately, when we think about a T-Mobile customer, we think about a subscriber, and we think about that subscriber telling their friends that they should subscribe, or keeping their subscription longer than they originally intended, driving higher revenues for T-Mobile. Better customer experience equates to a better subscriber experience and long-term growth for T-Mobile. Well, we also see the same behavior from a developer experience. And the end results are higher throughput, more innovation, more creativity, higher retention. And the more investment you make to keep that motivation up from the beginning, the happier your devs will be. And so in order to reconcile